friends here at Brazil's training center, but keeping an eye on the Uruguay game. At the moment I'm recording, it's 0-0, Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, and it's important for us to talk about that. This possible return of Matías Viña to Flamengo, which we even mentioned earlier, that they will have to keep paying the player's salary or make an agreement with Flamengo. If he comes back now, right, in the middle of the year, yeah, they'll have to make an agreement because otherwise they'd have to pay until the end of the season. Matías's salary. Viña, and Matías was playing as a starter in the 0-0 game. Viña and Guilherme Varela were playing, okay? So it could be a situation where Flamengo gets an interesting financial return and even technical benefits. A starting player in the World Cup, Viña and Varela, both starters in the World Cup. Even now, we still don't know what's happening at River. They wanted to return the player, according to information from there. So we have to stay alert because it could be really good for Flamengo. Viña's return could be really good for Flamengo. I think it's important. We'll also bring the footage here on our social media training sessions behind the scenes, right? An important point to mention here is also related to what's happening in the competition. The press conference this Tuesday morning is with Douglas Santos, right? At the hotel at the national team's training camp. To add, the training session is closed, which suggests that we might have Neymar, who didn't show up to train today at the Red Bull Training Center field. Neymar didn't show up, but we might have Neymar tomorrow because they're closing Brazil's training session tomorrow. So it could be to hide their strategy, to hide something since Neymar is about to come back. He didn't show up today, but he might show up tomorrow or maybe just when the journalists aren't present, a closed training session, okay? So that's some really important information for us to bring to you. And another important piece of information we have to share is that the Brazil's training session, which takes place this Tuesday, is not only closed. Yeah, there might be conversations they don't want to be recorded, right? Moments where they need to fix some things, a lot of mistakes by the team, especially in this first game. So I think it's a training session they want to keep close to the press to try to get things in order. I finally found my brother, my friend, Thiago Asmar Pilhado, who's doing great with Pilhado Esporte, killing it, making a difference. Yeah, I'm going to give him some news maybe he doesn't know. Here, just on Insta, the two of us together, we're reaching 600 million in 30 days. Did you know that?
That's awesome, huh?
I'll show you here.
Hey guys, don't freak out, okay?
It's nearly at 400 million, right?
Man, I just keep going. I have 348 million views, I think.
I had 300, it dropped, but with the World Cup starting, it's rising again. It's still annoying, right? Man, the guys took the news the other day about Almada that I brought, that Flamengo was interested. They confirmed it, published it, and didn't give me credit. But that's okay. You know why? I went to their comments and everyone was saying it was Paparazzo who brought it.
And it bothers them, Papiña. And another thing, your birthday, I didn't know. Thank you, brother. Congratulations, health, happiness. Do you know how much I care about you? I rarely care about anyone in this business since there's so much anger and resentment. But you're a guy I've liked since the beginning, and you're someone I've always seen trying to help everyone. And I know how much you've been disappointed by a lot of people because human beings can be dirty.
That's it. And man, I'm here. I wanted to hear your thoughts about Neymar. I'll also bring up the transfer market since it's not just the World Cup. The transfer window is opening and we need to discuss everything. Flamengo, the national team. Today was concerning, huh? Thinking about Haiti, on one hand, we have Spain drawing with Cape Verde, and then a lot of people are like, see, this World Cup is going to have a lot of upsets and everything. Yeah, but Brazil wasn't convincing in the first game, and everyone wants Neymar to come back, for Neymar to be the difference maker, maybe even to come in during the second half. Yeah, and Neymar not showing up for training. Viewers are watching the training footage with us and will notice Neymar isn't attending. Are you worried or scared that Neymar isn't coming to this training? Or do you even think it's better to be cautious, that if he has to come back in the round of 32, then let him come back in the round of 32? Tell us.
Man, I already expected it, okay, Papa? So it doesn't scare me, no? I always said that I thought Neymar would come back for the third game to get back into rhythm, maybe, for the knockout stage.
Does it count if the game is under control too? Of course.
Of course. If the game against Scotland is under control, because I used to say that Haiti is the weakest opponent. I don't think they'll rush Neymar's return just for this game. Yeah, I already said that. I think Neymar is a guy who isn't at his best physically, so he needs to get back into rhythm. I would only put Neymar to play against Scotland so he can get into rhythm and be ready for the knockout stage to face the tougher teams.
Japan, Netherlands.
Japan, Sweden, Brazil could also face them later on. So I think what I hope for is that Neymar plays against Scotland. And I've said this from the beginning. I'll be surprised if Neymar is listed for the match against Haiti.
All right, we've discussed the national team. We're at the training center working on site. That's why I mentioned this to those following Pilhado on social media. When he brings the super odds, right? Always remember to play responsibly. It's for people over 18. It's for fun, not for investment. I'll leave our tips channel here. But you can check out his tips channel on his Instagram. You can get all the information there because this guy here knows a lot. When I have my own tip, that's fine. But you don't realize I learn a lot from him since he knows so much and is here on site. It's important for us to be present, bring information, and share it with everyone. Why is being on location important? To bring all this information that you share with the people in your groups. For those who follow you on every social network.
It's a different kind of work, right, Papinha? It was a project I started doing because I needed to. You know, because since I'm kind of controversial, sometimes I can't count on sponsors. And I don't need them either. I don't care at all about changing who I am because of sponsors. I started this sports betting project and it worked out really well. Yeah, I have groups. You have them too. Yeah, man, we have a team working and watching the game all the time. And then it changed my life, but with serious work. That's what I say. Yeah, there are a lot of people in this business who do things wrong, who lie to people. Not me. I do things my own way. I speak straight. I'm always honest. I always bring the information that I think is relevant. And that's our job. And another thing, okay? You who deal with the Flamengo crowd. I've been hearing a lot of news about the Brazilian national team. And there's some good news for Flamengo fans. Vinícius, Júnior. He finally impressed Ancelotti after debuting with the Brazilian national team. Call Ancelotti. No. And Ancelotti was really surprised by his attitude, by his behavior. Ancelotti already had Vinícius Júnior as one of his trusted guys because of the work they've done together at Real Madrid. Today, Vinícius Júnior is Ancelotti's guy. And it's not a guess. It's not an opinion, it's information. Vinícius Júnior earned a lot of respect from Ancelotti. He became the group's symbol and main figure, knowing he bears the responsibility.
Look at this report from Pilhado. This one is spectacular. So Vinícius Júnior gained even more trust from Ancelotti. And to wrap up the national team, because I'm going to talk quickly about Flamengo, about Igor, Thiago, do you also feel that if it were Endrick or even Pedro, who isn't here, anyone else with that chance, Vinícius Júnior practically handed it to him, would have scored, right? Yeah, Igor missed it. Yeah, I don't want to be a coward, but that's a chance that a player who's there for that can't miss. Pedro. I've even said it several times on my channel. Pedro would have scored with his chest, his chin, his nose, his shoulder. Ander would have finished it right there. I don't know, something like that. Igor Thiago can't miss that goal.
He can't miss that goal, Papa. But I know there will be Flamengo fans who will get mad at me.
Not me. It's all good. I want to hear your opinion.
No, me neither. I don't care. I give my opinion on everything. Yeah, I think Pedro took a while to wake up. Honestly, I think if Pedro had been playing since the beginning of the year, you're right. He really started playing when Leonardo Jardim arrived. He was on the national team, and I really think so.
He had an injury too, right? No,
but he had already come back.
Yes.
By the start of the year, he had already returned, but took time to get going. Even in the Club World Cup final against PSG, he played poorly due to a lack of rhythm. Ali was returning. Pedro took a while to start. Then people use statistics. He scores many goals, but 4 were against whom?
So you think it's reasonable he brought Igor Thiago?
I think so.
But if it were Pedro in that position, he would have scored?
Yes, I think anyone else in that position would have scored. It was an unfortunate moment for him. But it would be very cowardly of me if at the beginning of the World Cup, I said that for me, Pedro, I didn't think it was absurd for Pedro not to be called up. Now that the guy played badly, that the guy missed the goals.
Opportunism.
Yeah, if I say, man, no, Pedro should have been there. I don't think it was absurd that Pedro didn't come. Because he took a while to wake up. I think if he had started the year playing the way he's been playing since Leonardo Jardim arrived, he would be on the Brazilian national team.
So now, just for us to talk about Flamengo, BRP gave an interview yesterday to my friend Bruno Cantarelli over at Charla, and he talked about Luis Henrique. that Flamengo is able to sign Luis Henrique and Danilo. It just depends on convincing the players. But does Flamengo have the money? Obviously, they have to negotiate the partnership. It's in installments. You pay, you won't have the money up front, but Flamengo can sign them. You often mention that about Luis Henrique. I talked a lot about Danilo. Sometimes people made fun of it. You guys are talking nonsense. BAP confirmed everything. Everything you said about Luis Henrique was possible. BAP confirmed everything. And now BAP also said that there's a Galactico, a player who would be the big signing, a forward that he was actually talking to, who was close to coming. But now there's a club from Arabia that got involved. So I did some digging today, and I'm telling you here. Do you know who the name is that BAP is trying to sign?
No.
Guess, a striker, Polish.
Lewandowski. Are you serious?
It's serious. You can check it.
Oh my God. No way.
Old, right? He's getting up there, but who cares? He scores many goals, and his stats are impressive for his age.
Lewandowski played for Barcelona?
And scoring goals. And scoring goals?
No. Yeah, Lewandowski, given how physically strong he is, my God, for me, he would still dominate in Brazilian football. But there's something else too. If we can't get Lewandowski, it would be crazy, especially for media coverage.
A market opportunity, okay? Because he's finishing up. He would come to Flamengo. You see, when we talk about a market opportunity, you spread out, right? The signing bonus, you spread all of that over the length of the contract. It's expensive either way. Flamengo can afford it since they've cut their payroll.
I think it's huge. Now, you have to check his physical condition. You have to see if he's not injured. Now, Lewandowski in Brazilian soccer, no matter his age, for me, he makes a big difference. Even if it's not Lewandowski, okay? If BAP really said that he did, yeah, what I mean is your name. No, but if he really said that he can sign Luis Henrique, I don't know what he's waiting for. Well, if he can sign Luis Henrique, this guy makes a difference. This guy is a forward who makes a difference. This guy made a difference at Botafogo. This guy, when he comes on for the Brazilian national team, makes a difference. Man, if BAP said he can sign Luis Henrique, I don't know what he's waiting for. Because to me, that's the kind of player who changes a team. That's something Flamengo doesn't have much of today. For me, they have a lot, really great players, but they don't have that one guy who takes responsibility on his own, says, I'm going to decide, I'm going to score the goal. And I think Luis Henrique is that guy.
He said they just need to convince the player since they have the means to sign him. That's it. I want to thank Pilhado. It's a great pleasure to have him here, my brother. We're together, and Opa, he saved it. Pilhado even saved my phone number. Look at that. Yeah, the wind is strong here. Guys, that's it. That's it. Thank you so much, my brother. We're in this together. We're in this together. Guys who don't follow yet, which I think is hard to believe, go there. Pilhado Esportes, and also Thiago Asmar on Instagram and all the networks. Check out Pilhado Sports on YouTube and support him. He's a brother doing great work.
We're always together.
So we talked with Pilhado, Thiago Asmar, and look, there's some important information we need to bring here regarding the transfer market. That João Gomes, right? The midfielder João Gomes, our dear João Gomes, a friend. He's the guy who sent me a gift the other day. His Wolverhampton jersey could bring millions to Flamengo. Check out this information. According to the Turkish portal Photomac, yeah. Midfielder João Gomes is close to leaving Wolverhampton after the team's relegation to the second division of England. Yeah. And Galatasaray emerges as one of the main interested parties and would be willing to invest 40 million euros in signing the midfielder raised by Rubro Negro, okay? Yeah, if the deal goes through at those values, Flamengo could receive a significant amount. That's because the Rio club kept 10% of the economic rights over a future sale of the midfielder, which would guarantee them a share of the transfer amount. Also, since Flamengo is the club that developed the player, the solidarity mechanism applies. So Flamengo could receive around 40, maybe a little over 40 million reais from João Gomes' transfer, okay? So he came up through Flamengo's youth academy and left the club in 2023. That was actually one of the reasons Flamengo struggled so much under Vitor Pereira. They really felt João Gomes' departure, right? And now his transfer could bring new earnings to Flamengo's coffers. That's very important information. It could give Flamengo some breathing room in the market, right? BAP talked about signings. They're looking for that Galactico and everything. Yeah, they even tried to get one. Lewandowski, who isn't even the Polish one. And man, he shined at Barcelona, even at an advanced age, and he's a player who would stand out in Brazilian football. There's the matter of Luis Henrique. Flamengo is trying to sign him, even if it's in installments. And this money could give Flamengo some new breathing room. That's it. Follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. Greetings, red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Thanks.